Hi.
Hey,
Welcome to Hoosier Sophisticate.
welcome.
We have Lady Cannabis with us in the flesh. How have you enjoyed the conference so far?
Oh my gosh.
What a
It
day.
has been absolutely
What a weekend.
mind-blowing. Just yesterday was so insane, which actually you saw the patients and then the whole room. Earlier you guys were saying the whole room, everybody who's a doctor, and almost half the room.
Half the room.
Right.
Boom.
Instantly there goes those hands. I'm
Powerful.
like, well, where the hell have you guys been?
Yeah,
No,
well,
they're
that's
learning
what this
now.
is all about it. And that's what's so awesome. Like people can be like, that's a potential. Like if I can potentially be a patient, that could potentially be my doctor.
That can
I can avoid that awkward conversation with my doctor that I don't really have any ties to, and I can go to somebody that I know is friendly.
Right.
Watch like they have a chance right now to separate themselves from the pack as people that can be on the front.
They
of
can
this.
be the forerunners.
And they're
of it.
learning from Sue Sisley, Dr. Mimi Vo, who
Oh my God,
Mimi
she's
Vo.
amazing.
So many people are like, and can she be my doctor?
Dude,
Right?
Cassara
She
Andre
be my
talking
doctor.
about
Oh.
veterinary
The
medicine.
veterinarian, and I love it
She was
because I
incredible.
needed that. My French bulldog is absolutely insane. She has got anxiety problems like you wouldn't believe. So to have that and have her go, oh well, yeah, we can totally. And she does nationwide. She doesn't have to have you in her clinic to help you dose your animals with CBD.
God.
I was like, wait a minute, you're going back to Colorado and I can call you and we can FaceTime and you can help me with my baby? And she's like, absolutely.
And it's a great way to get people on board with the cause, because a lot of people,
Right?
I know a lot of people who are not staunch advocates. Maybe they were on the fence about cannabis in general, and then their dogs needed CBD or something to
Right.
that extent. And they're like, yeah, I'm in.
Right. That's my
it's a
baby. I
plant.
have to. It's not a
Yes.
child, but it's still your baby. And a lot of pet parents take it to another level, like
Sure.
like sped parents. Like I look at a lot of these kids that were here today and I'm like, oh, I'd go to jail. I'd still go to jail for my kids if that's what it meant to make
For
sure
sure.
that my kids were going to be healthy and we're going to have an actual life rather than being drooling on themselves, propped up against something because they're so drugged out on pharmaceuticals.
Yep.
You know, they can't even open their eyes, let alone sit straight. So
Yeah, and then they're turning the parents into criminals.
We have that one
Yeah.
question: would you be a criminal if it meant saving your kid's life?
in an instant,
Should
I
somebody
am.
be a criminal
No.
to have to treat their children? And
Never.
everybody would say, well, no.
Obviously.
And then in the same breath be like, but I just don't think. Well, there's literally tomes of science that you can comb through where kids are
Right.
getting help that they need. So this idea that I mean, it's dissipating, it's going away,
Yeah, it is.
but it is frustrating still to hear. Like, there's still some people. There was an article on the Kansas City Star last week.
How
where a
about
gal-
that?
Where a gal really went on a limb to say a lot of things that were just fallacious, like just absolutely wrong.
It was the what about the kids argument, which is
Right.
so ironic.
I don't know how often, ma'am, do you just leave Vicodin laying out on the coffee table?
Right. Or
Like-
how many times do you give Vicodin out for trick or treat? And that's been the whole big thing.
Oh.
Well, you know, you'll get
I've been
cannabis
looking for
in your
these
thing.
neighbors my whole life.
Me
Where's
too.
the
I
acid
am like,
apples?
forget the kids going trick or treating. My ass is going trick or treating.
No doubt.
Ooh,
But I'm
adult
sitting
trick or
there,
treating. Did we just
right,
come up
for
with something?
cannabis.
Did we
Yeah.
just come up with
Yes.
something?
In the
Missouri,
newly
yeah.
grown green light district, that could
Yeah.
totally be a thing.
That would be
Totally,
very
totally.
cool. Treat.
But I look at it and I am like, I'm sorry.
I
I'm
like
not going to
these.
spend $30 to $100 on an edible and then leave it around for my dog to eat, for my
goofy.
kid to eat, or
Exactly.
give
Such
it
a
to some
goofy- it's such
random
a
kid that I
goofy
don't know.
argument.
No,
That's
I'm
how they
good.
get them hooked, you know.
Right?
No, I've
Because
been-
you know, it's not a gateway drug.
And that's
or
what-
it is a gateway drug, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what I love about Mimi Vo. It is
Exit
an exit drug.
It's an
She
exit
says
drug.
we have
absolutely.
all kinds of data showing that people
Right.
opioid use is down 25%
Sure.
in states that have legalized. 25% is a huge
Huge.
move
and
Huge.
it's
in
great.
just a couple years time.
It's great to see the open minds of all these doctors too, because a lot of these aren't double-blind placebo studies, which they're
Right.
used to. These
Right.
are a lot of it's anecdotal, but now they're finally going, because it's so funny. The doctors, I have to check my blind side because I want to believe it works as a medicine. I want to, because I've been backing it for so long, and I know I have that bias. But to hear these people say it, and they're like, "No, I have no bias towards anything. I'm getting high all the time."
3,000
love
notebooks
science.
you can look at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the science of the plant.
And to
Yeah,
see the doctors
nerdiness,
just like,
I love it.
oh, and it's great, right? Like, these people are brilliant, and they're sitting there in awe of their peers. Like,
Yep.
okay, I'm seeing where you're going with the science. Okay,
How
like,
cool was that panel
so
of
cool.
Sue Sisley, Dr. Jeffrey
Hergenrather
Hergenrather.
and Cassara was up there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable
Bo,
to see
yeah.
three titans just getting after it
Answering
out
questions, rapid fire, and actually some really
and
good
on
questions
the ball
came
too.
up. Yep.
Oh,
So
sure.
It wasn't like Well, let me check my phone while I look that statistic up. It was boom, they had it.
And I thought one of the most interesting things coming out of the weekend was some of the CBD products. If you're we've talked about it before in the show that CBD can be all over the place, and
Yes.
even we're learning about the testing. Greg Duran he's part of the testing program in Colorado, and he says, they'll take best bud of hemp and test it, and say, oh, this is your testing for the rest of the year, to where you got to get a full sample of the whole crop of everything. And it's like some of these CBDs, you don't even know what you're getting in any of them. That's why we need to lock the science down. We need to figure it out, and that's what I hope. Part of what we can do in Missouri too is become a leader in that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I
think
agree.
the more robust we make the language, and we encourage the market itself, right? Like the more robust and thriving that is, the more ancillary business is going to pop up around that is going to keep pushing. And you know what? So maybe someone says, I run a lab, and this is a scientific lab, and this lab is. I'm going to sell our services to you because we're going to help you dial in your product to be the best product. Oh, by the way, while we're doing that, we're also doing, we have this other wing of our business because we have these labs where we're doing these studies as well.
It would be just all
game
in a
changer.
nutshell.
And people who want cannabis as a medicine, who need cannabis as a medicine, which we're finding out it might be an cannabinoid deficiency we're all facing, but the dosing is huge.
Oh yeah,
like that's huge. You want to know if you're taking
a
1 milligram, 10 milligrams, 100 milligrams. Like you don't want to be like, oh yeah, I can always do 1 milligram before work or whatever, and helps with just my bones. Be like, oh, I accidentally took 50 this morning. You know what I mean?
2 days later, you wake up.
You're like, oh, that was awesome.
Like,
I slept awesome.
And how many people
I'm fired.
How many people that are allies of cannabis have experience with cannabis just on the black market for all these years that it's been illegal? How many of them have ever had the opportunity to look at 38 different jars, should they so choose, and give a nose test to
on-site testers?
Yes.
How about the on-site testers? You got a chance to check out the purple.
They had a testing unit here, and I'll tell you what, if I had $1,500 laying around, that baby would have been mine.
It's so cool.
Sure.
They were showing
was
how it works with
amazing.
the infrared spectrometry. Gives a reading out in like 5 seconds.
Yep.
John Hunt was testing his
incredible.
stuff in Colorado.
Right.
Yeah, he was testing out in Colorado, and we're going to go over in Illinois, and we're going to test.
Yeah, we are.
Ooh, that'll be good. That'll be really
we
good.
get here in Missouri, I can't wait to take those buds out and put them on the little tray.
Yeah.
And you don't need much. You
No.
don't need much at all. You literally need the size of your pinky nail to test it, and then, which is nice because it doesn't burn it, it doesn't vaporize it, doesn't do
know, that's
anything.
what I
You
thought was
take
crazy.
that back and put it in your bowl and smoke it. You
amazing.
save it.
You
There's
can test
no
right on the
damaging.
spot.
Yep.
You can,
Cool.
you can, and which was nice.
Who's
going to
be the asshole who shows up at that at a party and be like,
Right.
Let's all test it.
When's the best?
But I was able to test a CBD product that I picked up here.
Yeah.
And where the CBD product specifically says there is less than 0.3% of delta T or delta 9 THC, we tested it and it had 4% CBD.
Wow.
The label said that it was 15%. It had 2% THC in it. There is no way I would have been able to give this particular product to anybody who could not test positive.
We got to get
and
serious.
say, hey,
about
it's CBD. It's cool. It's got 0.9 or
Yeah,
0.3%.
0.3.
It's cool. It's cool. You won't test positive. 2%.
People were talking about that in there. The way that these tests are designed, I think it was Jeffrey Hergenrather was talking about on the panel last night. Like they can test down to a very small measurement.
Very
so like
small. Well, they
even
said
with the trace amounts of THC, unless you're using an isolate, which if you had a CBD isolate, then you would not fail at all. But these tests can be so sensitive. Now, typically your normal urine test is pretty rudimentary, but yes, you would with a trace amount of THC in it, which was actually kind of I wouldn't say news to me. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's also without talking about isolates, there's going to be some measure of THC in there, so there's always going to be a chance of.
Yep.
Oh well, with
of
the
it showing
0.3, saying you can only be allowed 0.3 THC. One of the gentlemen here was talking about they have an $80,000 machine that tests cannabis and hemp, and they said it's with 0.2% accuracy within. So that's almost all of the, you know, 0.2 and 0.3. It's
Well,
like it could be any
in this
direction,
particular-
and it's like,
that-
what are we
that's
doing?
important to know too.
And that
because
number is
Purple's still in
arbitrary.
development.
Right.
Purple's trying to make the best product they can, so they have
Yeah.
people like John Hunt.
Yeah, constantly
using
testing.
it over
Always,
there,
yeah.
and they're you know, which is really cool that they're out of St. Louis.
Oh, sure.
They're out of
Right.
Finland. Like that's all of those things are so awesome. But even they acknowledge, like right now, there's about a 3% variance. And when you start
Yeah.
talking about small percentages like 4 and 2%,
Yeah.
what does that variance actually look like?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's
it
huge.
could possibly still fall within that range of where they're advertising, right? But more likely, it's probably like maybe half of that. If it's wrong that way, could be wrong the other way.
Sure.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
we're going to
Sure.
entertain that. It could be wrong the other way.
So they give you a little extra, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they'll
Right,
let
right.
on that, but-
So-
Dani, Lady Cannabis, how did you join the fight? How did you get into all this advocacy stuff?
Well, I mean, I partook when I was younger just because, hell, it's cannabis and it was awesome. But then I grew up.
I know.
I became a mom and I was like, okay, I can't do this because I
Yeah.
was still using it more as a recreational, trying to get away from the world.
Sure.
And then I was diagnosed with cancer. I was diagnosed with cervical cancer and I treated it. I refused to do chemotherapy. I refused to do radiation. I've watched so many people die of poisons.
Whereas everyone like,
before.
you're crazy. You're
Right.
a crazy
My
person.
doctor looked at me and a lot of people think they're like, this will never happen. Okay, well, you have a single mother that's have small children. When you threaten them that with commitment, they are like, I will have you committed if this is. So he said, I will humor you for 3 months. We will watch your levels. If they go whack in any way, shape, or form, and you will not do chemo and radiation, I will have you committed because you're insane. He's like, you have 3 small children. You're a young woman. You have the ability to fight this with the medical. I was like, but it's Western medicine and I don't want it. I
Yeah.
want health. I want to
Wow.
be able to be here and live for my kids. And I can't do that when you're shoving poisons in my body to kill everything, not just the cancer. So we agreed that I would do the surgery. So they removed everything. And then I went home and removed all processed foods from my home. If it came from a store, if it was in a box, it was gone. It got to the point where if I could not grow it in a garden or if I couldn't raise it and slaughter it myself, I didn't eat it. Just that was the way it was. And
Wow.
then back home in Alaska, we have this really awesome pipe that comes out of the mountain. So we will take water bottles and big old jugs and go get water. And that's the water we drink.
He's got a pipe in the mountain.
Just a pipe in the mountain, and it's
pipe in
glacial
the
water
mountain.
that just goes through the mountain, and it just kind of filters itself naturally. And by the time it comes out, it's potable water, and you can
God,
drink
I
it,
love
no problem.
Alaska.
Minerals, I mean,
Yeah.
all those minerals and nutrients and all that
Yeah.
good stuff, the vitamins, that everything
Before
that you
it gets
need.
to the bottles.
All
Exactly.
the fluoride.
Exactly, before it gets all pasteurized and say like
Yeah,
this
Nestle's
is enhanced
great.
with
That's-
minerals
they're
for taste.
great.
Purified water enhanced with minerals for taste.
Yeah, Nestle's like, we
Okay.
get all the water.
Yeah, we're just gonna. So hopefully they'll never steal our Alaska water. But so I mean that's kind
Where's
of.
this pipe?
I said it was in Alaska, and that's the end of it.
Nestle, are you listening?
Where I'm not
Got
giving
some-
directions.
Got some pipe locations for sale.
Pipe water, my favorite kind.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
The best kind of pipe water.
So you cut out all the
I
toxins from your
cut
diet?
out all of it, and you know, it was slow going, and there's a lot of times that I laid in bed and I was like, what the hell am I doing? I really am insane. Maybe I should be committed. Maybe I should, you know, go through this, because what am I going to do if I'm not here tomorrow for my kids? Now my kids are adults. They're 21, 19, and 18. 10 years ago, they still needed their mama.
Oh shit! Yeah.
I
I still need my mom. I'm 34.
Right. I actually
have a
just lost my
21-year-old
mom.
kid?
I do.
You're
My
27 years old.
Hey, settle down, creepo. I was
I'm not
gonna say
being
it,
creepy.
dude. Jesus
I'm
Christ,
just 34
sorry.
and I'm like, I look 12.
Oh my goodness, I'm 37.
I know you do look 12 years
Yeah.
older. than her.
Or absolutely, I do.
at least.
Hey,
Especially-
we're doing something right.
I know.
We're doing something right.
Cannabis.
Yes. Okay. Yep. All right. So, what? So after 3 months, what were the? What
My levels, my doctor had never seen levels like that ever. He was like, this is phenomenal. You keep doing you, and I'll just continue to take your blood. And that was that. And my last blood draw was December 2015. And then I took one more here in Illinois. Then they sent the information back to Alaska, and that was it. I haven't,
Wow.
I mean, other than I tried to give blood for a donation, and because my veins suck so bad, they were like, yeah, you can't come in. We're not going to pay you because you're not you're not producing anything, ladies. But they were like paying me out for the plasma.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you're poking. And I'm telling you, if you would just go to this arm and a little bit more on the forearm instead of up in my elbow, you'll hit a vein.
You're like, this is where I shoot
Right,
my
I'm like,
cannabis.
Here
This
it
is where I
is.
shoot my cannabis up.
Exactly.
Belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you go ahead and take the blood, please?
Right.
Were you
right.
doing the oil at the time? To a cannabis oil?
I will still medicate no matter what, and whether I'm in a state that's legal or whether I'm in a state that's illegal. I have to be able to control my migraines, to control my chronic pain. I've had a fusion at 6-7. I need a fusion at 3-4. I have little to no disc there, and the rubbing of the vertebrae has severed nerves into my right side. So there's a lot of times where a lot of time here, my hand, and it's pretty good right now, but it would sit there and just be shaking. And somebody had was like, "Do you have Parkinson's?" No, I don't. I just have an absolute stupid nervous system.
That's a personal question, pal.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks for invading my hip of it.
Yes. I didn't know I had to run it past you, Doc.
Right.
Be like, no, it's a
Right.
Michael Kors. Why? Why are you asking? Parkinson's? No, I don't have one of those.
So and so I do, and there are days that again I sit there and I'm like, man, this is ballsy. I got 10 cops in my neighborhood, and I'm just sitting on my back deck smoking a joint.
It's
I don't
super
have a choice.
ballsy. It's ballsy to not commit to the chemo too, because that's what a lot of people. I always wonder that, because I'll get in debates with my family like, if your kid gets sick, you wouldn't try chemo with them before you tried anything else, and I'm like, let's cross that bridge when we come to
I
it. But
just
at
don't
this
know.
point,
How
I
about
don't
know?
think
Right.
so. I
Right.
really like, because it is poison, and they
It
do
is.
have. And I thought it was weird because I read an article that said it's skewed to where when they say chemo cured a cancer, they're not accounting if it comes back somewhere else. They just
Right.
kind of count that in the statistics of, it got rid of that for a minute. Okay, you're good, to where there's a big statistic of it possibly coming back
Absolutely.
from,
And somewhere else.
yeah, because I mean, what got me into the whole advocacy thing was a kid who had lymphoma, and I read a study online that they were doing in England, and they said it's working. Like, the doctors were having to write down like white widow. You know what I mean? I was like, this is a crazy study. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they were curing
Oh
this
my
little girl. Her blast cell count was going down. It was unbelievable. ALL. And so all her numbers were looking better. It was great. And they said the chemo had eaten some of the lining of her organs or whatever. And it was like it's like called, Billy's syndrome or something like that, to where
It's prevalent enough. It's got a name.
yes,
Right.
that's what I was like. Oh,
That's
shit,
ridiculous.
man. Like, they have a name for that when it shuts down your organs due to the medicine they're giving you.
Yeah.
So it's wild, man. And we've seen a lot of patients here this weekend who, God forbid, I know maybe I'd have trouble sleeping, maybe I would have joint pain, but people who really need cannabis as a medicine, like, holy moly, if you don't have a little empathy in your heart and we don't fire it up and vote. I mean, I'm voting yes on 2 in November.
Yeah.
Do you have an
Yes on 2, no on 3, no on C.
it seems to be the
Yeah.
general consensus
That
here.
seems
We
to
haven't heard any otherwise.
We
Not
have
that
no-
we haven't reached out for it.
Yeah, we have no affiliation with 2. I mean, I guess a little bit. We've been to their parties.
You have
and stuff.
no affiliation with 2. You have
I have
no affiliation.
with the
You're
Yes
like,
on 2 movement, except for the tattoo on my bum.
Yeah, bum, bum.
But I don't.
I'm
think-
not smacking it, just
We're-
saying. I'll be nice.
Craig.
Well, I'm disappointed.
Do it.
Well, okay, bend over.
No, that
I've been
guy-
disappointed in you before. I sure have.
That guy got it good, Chris. Jesus
He left
Lord,
Wells?
man,
Oh my
what's
God, that
wrong
was
with
awesome.
that guy?
Well, I
Don't let
will
him watch
say that
this,
as
but
many people that
Jesus
threatened
Lord.
to do it, I think only one person kind of successfully did it, and it was very light. from
Chris
the
Haney
pants.
got me pretty good too.
Did he?
No,
Okay.
forget it.
Well, that's just how baseball go.
All right, how can we find you on? We got you on Instagram. Are you're on Facebook? So we just
I
have a
have
little
a personal
tiny
account
L.
on Facebook that I don't really touch very much. I think the last thing I actually posted on it was something that in regards to my mother. I just recently lost my mom.
Oh, man.
And that kind of, helps me that I'm going to really push this cannabis thing. I'm, besides the cancer that I had, my son is also, I have an autistic child. And he's not really a child anymore. He's 19, but 14 years of his life, he was on pharmaceuticals. So I took him off pharmaceuticals and put him on cannabis. He doesn't do cannabis every single day. Once in a while, once in a blue moon is what I say, because it is very long in between his times where he's like, Mom, I just can't, I need something. And
Sure.
he'll take 1 or 2 puffs and then he's off and doing his own thing and he's fine.
We had
Wow.
a guest at a Yes on 2 party at Parlor, one of our sponsors, and the guest came on the show, and he is an adult functioning with autism, and that was
Oh,
his
wow.
thing. Is like, not enough people are talking about how effective cannabis is when it comes to treating
Yeah,
autism.
he was the first guy we probably heard beating that drum.
And I mean, and he was kind of very nervous coming on and everything. He's like, I get a little. I'm like, dude, just sit here and at your pace, tell me your story.
And once he found the groove, he was grooving.
He was passionate,
man. That's awesome.
super passionate.
That's
So
awesome.
that's what's. I mean, it's so interesting because we've talked to a lot of different patients for a number of different things. I mean, you might be our first cervical cancer, but we've had other cancers. We've had autoimmune. Yeah, that's where you're at. No, but like, I mean, even to people with this, with our sponsor, with our CBD sponsor, treating menopause symptoms and people that have migraines and sleep, like the whole spectrum of cannabis as a medicine, whether it's CBD or THC. It's amazing how people are finding solace in the medicine for a bevy of ailments that like we might not even know yet. Like it's reversing Crohn's. We have a close friend who has a family member, Colton, who he was like the cannabis person of the year. Colton's cure. He was the cannabis person of the year, like beat out like
Melissa Etheridge.
Up against big names, and this kid reversed his Crohn's.
I remember him doing videos in his kitchen where he's like, telling people about the oil, like just going out on a limb. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're kind of all
absolutely.
going out on a limb here.
We're all going
That's
out
the
on
whole
a limb
idea.
right now.
Pirate radio.
Yeah. Roll that joint. Just kidding.
See, it would be so much better if we could be sitting here like passing a joint.
I will say that the Las Vegas chapter of Normal gave us sent in these really cool lighters. And what was neat about it was like, oh, it's Vegas, right? It says Normal, smoke the vote, November 6th, 2018. Well, they were already legal in Nevada, so they were sending them out here to Missouri for us. Smoke the vote. On the other side, it's got a little spliff with November 16th, 18 in the cloud. November 6th, 18 in the cloud.
That is awesome.
Smoke the vote. That was from the people. That's what's cool. This community. This is from Las Vegas, Normal. Out in Nevada.
Oh, we've met people from all over.
All over the place.
Awesome.
We've had all different states, like all over the state. This has been a tremendous weekend.
Cool.
And I've had so many, I was saying out there earlier, like every conversation that I've had with someone out here, I haven't met a snake. Like I want to be a part of this industry. We'll find out where we fit into this industry. Maybe it's a media arm, whatever. All I want to know is I want to work with this collection of people and the like. And of course there's going to be competition and there's going to be, and that's fine. But for the most part, I would feel comfortable working by any of these people's side. I've had eye-to-eye contact and just like, oh, you're the dude.
I get you.
All right, I get you. You're the dude.
I've only met, unfortunately, a couple of snakes. One of them I was planning on getting into business with, and I'm a type of person, I'd rather you steal from me than lie to me. Don't lie to me.
The devil you know.
Hate liars. So, and when I was little, I used to lie, I used to steal, because we were kids. But as a grown adult, I'm like, don't lie to me. I'm done with that. And this gentleman had lied to me from the get-go, from the day first. And then I gave him that second chance, and I wanted him to come on with Marty, and I wanted him to, be a partner with me as we took Marty onto his adventures and kept going. And I finally was like, I can't do this with you. You are promising big things, you get my hopes up, and then you can't come through because they're all lies. You don't have anything backing this up. And I need real people to help me get Marty off the page and into animation and get this educational show out there for people.
That's how I feel about Craig.
Can we talk about Marty a little bit?
Let's talk about Marty a little bit.
Can we talk about Marty a little bit?
Absolutely. I can't believe you said that.
No, he's a pile of garbage. He says things like that all the time.
I'll say anything.
That's why we put you in the middle, because I would tear his throat out if you weren't there right now.
Do it.
Yeah, just fine. Is this what you want to do? Is this how you want to act? Fine. Is this how you're going to act in public?
So tell us a little bit about Marty.
Marty. What's Marty all about?
So Marty, I'll grab a couple cards out of my pocket. My pocket. And
you hold one up?
Yeah, sure. So Marty Marijuana, you have, and the top guy there is Marty. The bottom guy is his twin brother, Bruce Stoner. And then you've got Tangi and you have Maisie. Maisie is his little sister, and she has uncontrollable seizures. You will also find out later in the series that she also has autism. This is what sends Marty on to adventures to figure out, what can I find my sister that isn't killing her? Pharmaceuticals are killing her. I'm watching my sister deteriorate daily. And so he goes on these adventures to find holistic cures for her, where he finds cannabis and then starts researching that. And trying to find some things to help his sister. Bruce is his twin brother, and he is my skeptic, like we have on a day-to-day basis. You're a drug addict. You're going to make our sister a drug addict. You got to follow the doctor's rules. They know what they're doing. They've
Yeah.
been to school. You haven't. You're just stupid, you know. And so that's the society that we deal with today. I get told I'm a pothead all the time. I got told the other day I was a crackhead, and I was like, if that would make you feel better to call me that, by all means,
You're like, what
label
gave
me.
you that impression? The crack
Right?
I'm smoking right now? Forget you, man. I got
A lot of
wings.
people smoke marijuana out of a light bulb.
Duh. So call it
You're
dab.
like, right? I'm just
on.
gonna shoot it up.
Don't Chaz
Um,
grindage. Yeah.
You're gonna get it right one time.
So and then
Bruce,
and
and
then
then
later
we got-
on, so yeah, it's Marty Marijuana, Bruce,
Bruce.
Stoner, Maisie, and then Tangi. And
Okay.
Tangi, she will be brought in later on as well, because she is currently in college with medical marijuana. And I have a few other characters that have come out. Marty has his own Instagram, so like they now have a daddy.
What's the Instagram?
Daddy doesn't have a name.
What's the,
Marty period marijuana at the Instagram. Yeah.
That's
So
so
just very
awesome.
pretty simple.
Are they supposed to be like a
I
children's
think I
show,
was- I
possibly?
think I
So-
Because it would be a
my-
great way.
Yeah, I think I
Right?
was following Marty
My
Marijuana.
idea is it's not specifically just children, it's for adults as well. It's an educational cannabis animation
That'd
show.
be great. That's a
So
great
I
idea.
plan on having coloring books and some books, and the books will kind of will mimic what the shows will be. So you know everybody likes Harry Potter, so you want to read that
Sure.
Harry Potter book and then you go watch the show. Yes, it's a little different, but at the same time you kind of get the gist because you
Sure.
read the book. So and that's what will happen, because Marty will go on multiple adventures. He's going to figure out, well, how do you get the nutrients from the roots, and how does it make this bud, and what do you do with these families? And because
man.
when I started with my cancer my little adventure with my cancer treatment and stuff, I had no clue what I was doing. I had no clue how to grow a plant. Well, I mean, I knew how to grow plants, but I didn't know how to grow a wheat
Yeah,
plant
yeah.
and what goes into it. And because I was so scared, I didn't use nutrients. I didn't use any type of products. It was all purified mountain water.
Yeah.
And I
It's
didn't
pipe water.
right. I didn't get huge yields or anything, but I was able to use that fan leaf and put it into smoothies and dry it out and put it on my pizzas. And I was able to take the roots and the stalks and make tinctures and salves and teas. And then I
Yeah,
used the
roots.
buds and I learned how to do some extracting. I started with the BHO because of course they didn't know.
Sure,
And
yeah.
being in the boonies where I was pretty limited on the access that I had to stuff.
BHO being, for the listeners who might not know, is a butane
extraction.
Butane extraction, and don't do it inside. Oh my God! And don't be stupid and have
Let's
something
just
lit
get it to
around
where we
you.
can just go to the store and buy it.
Right?
Yeah,
You
or
know?
I would love to have someone like a Mick Dickus or someone like super knowledgeable, like a friend who's like your little weed wizard.
Right?
You know what I
Here,
mean?
make
Like,
this
get
for
you-
me.
Mick's
Yeah.
gonna really appreciate
Exactly.
it.
Mick, you're my weed wizard.
Love it.
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
Cops
So,
are
so
a
yeah,
weedzard.
that's kind of the gist of Marty and his adventures, and my ultimate goal, because where it's going, Dad, in my mind, Dad is a judge, Mom is an attorney, so they have that power to
Oh, so
start
they're
changing
well off.
stuff. Well, they're well off too,
Okay,
but
I
that's
see what you're doing.
my and that wasn't the aspect I was looking at. I was looking more at the aspect of they're in a position to change
Change.
things. I didn't want politicians as parents because I'm a a
And-
fence sitter with
yeah,
politics,
sure.
really.
And you hate poor people too, which
and I hate
get.
poor
This
people.
Is good.
You're
We
poor,
do.
right?
Yeah.
We
really
do
hate you.
I know.
too.
We could tell it took
No.
all weekend to get you in.
I'm
here. Like, I'm gonna go
extravagantly-
sit with that gross homeless guy.
I'm extravagantly
I got
wealthy.
Vicks under my nose all.
I have more money than I know what to do with.
All right.
Jen's like, "Why are you holding out?"
Right?
I
Jen's
know.
like,
Where's the money?
we're talking after
I'm
we
a
get home.
trust fund baby. That's what I've been telling everybody here, and they've not been buying it at
Yeah.
all. They're
Right,
like, in those
right.
clothes, I'm like, what? This is like my Sunday church going clothes. Get you guys, man. So, did we go over your favorite part of the weekend yet? Did we go?
Yeah, we did touch base on it. I would say, other than having our wonderful how do you make cannabis food,
How was that?
absolutely- Oh my God, that was awesome. I mean, I've done it because I was doing it for a while, but he has got some techniques, and I'm like,
Zach
I have
Holmes.
got to pick your brains. I got to go to.
He
this
got a
Oh,
couple
he's
oohs
in-
and ahs in the crowd.
He's
which
in
was
high
awesome.
demand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Dude is like, if you've been in the Denver area and partaken in a infused food thing,
Mm.
he probably put it on. Like
Yeah.
this guy,
He's the guy.
he's the
That is
guy.
awesome.
He has
Yeah.
no
And
shortage.
talking
of
about, I mean, the science just keeps going deeper and deeper and
Absolutely.
deeper and deeper into all these different tributaries too, to where he's like, oh yeah, you added it this time and you use this terpene and
At
then you
this
only raise it to
temperature.
this. Yes, it's like, wow, man.
I missed him.
Trial and error. I only got. Did you get to see it?
No, I was coming in to get you.
You got
We-
John
We had
Hunt.
other things to do.
Yeah,
But,
Craig's
you know,
so
we had to
busy
work
doing
a
everything.
conference,
Jesus
guys.
Christ,
You know,
guys.
Steve was like, all right, I get to go see this cool free
Lady
conference this
Cannabis,
whole
thank you for joining the show. I'm sorry
Absolutely.
Craig had to be here
You want to keep
with
this up
us.
right now?
Let's do this thing.
You know,
This is
I'm telling you, we're
ridiculous.
trying to have a show here.
Guys, we're going to come live back from the Embassy Suites here pretty soon with some more interviews.
If I can find Steve.
Lady Cannabis, thank you. Have a good day.